In the chaos of a Minecraft Anarchy server, nothing lasts forever. Bases are raided, monuments are lava casted, and players are killed. But one thing survives: information. And on Constantiam.net, the purest form of information is map art. For years, dedicated builders have fought against lag, griefers, and the limitations of a 128 by 128 pixel grid to create legends. These aren't just mere pictures. They are political statements, historical documents, declarations of war, and sometimes just raw unfiltered edginess. Today we are exploring the history of the most notorious map arts ever made on Constantiam. To understand how deep this history goes, we have to go back to May of 2017. This was the era of the Old Guard, dominated by a group called the Royal Dynasty. Their leader, Oremonger, didn't just want to be the strongest, he wanted to be the most sophisticated. He spent weeks constructing a massive multi-map recreation of a Picasso. It was the largest map art the server had ever seen, but in Anarchy, beauty is a target. Using a bedrock pattern exploit, where players could triangulate a base's location just by looking at the natural bedrock in a screenshot, a rival group found the coordinates. But Oremonger was a zealot. Rather than let his rivals claim his masterpiece, he famously self-griefed the entire Royal Dynasty base. The Picasso was blown to pieces by its creator. For years, it was a ghost map, a legend you only heard about in chat. While Oremonger was hiding his art at the edge of the world, Astrokie was doing the unthinkable. He was putting his art at spawn. By late 2017, the donkey dupe had flooded the server's economy with unlimited items. Chaos was in an all-time high, but Astrokie saw an opportunity. He became the server's premier merchant and built the Menorah, the second largest map art in history at the time. He didn't hide it in a vault. He hung it at his trading outpost, an unbelievable 1,000 blocks away from 0-0. In a server defined by senseless killing, the Menorah became a beacon of the trade. If you saw that map, you knew you were in a zone of temporary peace. It's notorious because it was the first ever spawn map. The first piece of high effort art that every new fag ever saw. Proving that even in Anarchy, commerce is king. As we moved into 2018 and 2019, the server got political. Players didn't just want items, they wanted influence. This gave birth to the newspaper wars. The Daily Cook was the establishment. It was a map art newspaper that actually looked like a broadsheet, documenting official server history. But then came the Horizon. This wasn't journalism, it was psychological warfare. The notoriety of these maps came from a technical trick. Before the 1.14 update, maps weren't locked. If you held a copy of the Daily Cook, the creators could update the original art, and the map would change in your hand in real time. They used this to live dox players, updating the newspaper to show the exact coordinates of a player's base while they were still online. This toxic media cycle bled into the presidential elections. From Uber Slugman's heavy meme campaign to Nyrock's professional grade posters, Spawn became a literal billboard for the egos of the server's elite. But if the newspapers of Constantiam were the daily news, this next map art is the Bible. The Constantiam Timeline, conceptualized by Nyrock and built by Dinosaur Wizard, is a 14-map long odyssey. It spans the entire life of the server, from its 2016 founding by Phantom Captain to the modern era of 2023. What makes this notorious isn't just the scale, it's the technique. They used a technique called staircasing, placing blocks at varying heights to trick the game into rendering millions of colours. As we look at the modern state of the Constantiam archive, the scale has reached levels that the early 1.8 builders couldn't have imagined. At the very top of the archive sits Pink Floyd Butts by Mafescent. This isn't just a map art, it's a logical monster, coming in at a staggering 20 by 14 grid. That's 280 individual maps. It is currently the largest archived piece on the site, and while the subject matter is classic Anarchy edge, the technical achievement is undeniable. To keep 280 maps loaded, aligned, and protected from griefers or server resets is a task that requires a level of patience only found in the most dedicated map makers. But size isn't the only way to dominate the archive. Some maps capture the vibe of the server through sheer artistical detail. The Morning Departure by Redhawk76 is a masterclass in berserk aesthetic that permeates so much of Anarchy culture. Redhawk76 is a name you'll see all over the top rated lists, and for good reason. Using an 8x6 grid, this piece uses complex shading to depict a moment of quiet before a storm. In a server where everything is constantly being torn down, art like this serves as a reminder of the high effort era of Constantiam. Finally, we have to talk about the community spirit that occasionally breaks through the toxicity. Every year, Constantiam celebrates Constmas, and the Constmas 2025 map is a perfect example. Built as a collaborative effort by Hearted, Banjo Boy 77, Fat Lilo, and Lexion, this is a 6x4 advent calendar. This map is notorious for a different reason. It represents unity. It's a rare moment where rival players and groups put down their swords to create a shared piece of holiday history. Seeing these numbered doors at spawn during the winter months is a Constantiam tradition, a way for the community to mark the passage of time together before going back to blowing each other up in January. Of course, you can't talk about Anarchy without talking about the lack of rules. Anarchy allows for everything, and that includes art designed purely to offend or shock. Constantiam has housed countless notorious maps containing not safe for work imagery, shock photos, or controversial political symbols. The legendary base Arcadia even had a specific gallery section just for not safe for work map art. While I can't show you those, they are a massive part of the server's notorious reputation. However, there is a tragedy at the heart of this archive. In the world of Minecraft, even art has a death date. You see, Minecraft has a technical limit. For years, every map on Constantiam was assigned a numerical ID. But once those IDs hit a certain threshold, a limit of 32,767, the game's engine simply couldn't handle them anymore. Just like its older brother 2B2T, Constantiam eventually faced the Great Map Reset. When the IDs rolled over, the server's memory of these masterpieces shattered. Overnight, the Oremonger Picasso, the early newspapers, and the original campaign posters didn't just disappear, they turned into blank brown squares. The physical frames remained on the walls of abandoned bases, but the souls of the images were gone. This is why the ZipDocs archive and the work of players like Nyrock and Dinosaur Wizard are so vital. They are digital archaeologists fighting against the code itself. Every time the server updates or the IDs reset, we lose a piece of the story. These maps we've looked at today, the massive 280 piece Pink Floyd Titan, the haunting Morning Departure, and the Constmas Calendars, they are all temporary. They are beautiful, pixelated defiance against a game that is trying to forget them. On Constantiam, nothing is permanent. Not the bases, not the players, and certainly not the art. But as long as someone is there to hit F2 and save the render, the legend survives.